We'd like to welcome each and every individual to Voices of Integrity for Passions podcast. Ben,
Sir.
take it away.
Still working on the whole intro thing. Often on this podcast, we talk about pretty much anything that we're feeling that we're either struggling with or want to know. Sometimes it gets deep, sometimes it doesn't. You guys ever want to join, feel free to. It's a fun group of guys. We all, I believe pretty much everyone on here thinks quite differently than the average person. So, yeah, nailed it. How are you doing today?
That was terrific, Ben.
Thanks. Working on it all week. So the funny thing is usually with this podcast, Mark, he just nails it every time, takes over. But I think we're actually officially doing this bet that we made. And he doesn't bet, but he does, if you really get him to, on who can talk more during the podcast. The one we did before this, I won. The one we did before that one, I won too. So I think he's really trying today. So if anyone, I mean, there's so many people on here. If anyone wants to get a word in today, today is the day. Today is the day for sure. We can talk about anything.
So I have a question.
Go ahead.
So I would like to know why, like, from all the people in this that's on here, why do you think people are late?
So this just me.
So if you're
personally.
trying to win, you want to let other people talk.
Well, me, no, I'm already 2 for 0. I mean, I honestly, at this point, I would prefer to help Mark because he's just losing terribly. But, hi, Makia. How are you today?
We're making the sandwich for Daddy. This is my sissy.
Wow. That's so awesome. See, I'm playing the Mark role for sure. Just mid talking, and then there's a little girl talking, bro. Completely off track.
I'm my sissy.
Hi.
I'm
Hi,
my sissy.
Elena. Is that your sister? That's so cool. That's so awesome. And then he does a laugh afterwards, which I have yet to perfect. But why are people late is what you're asking, Uncle Ken, because I could think of 1,000 ideas.
Yeah, that's what I'm asking the group, because I'd be interested in knowing what everyone in the group thinks the reasons why, not saying they're late, but other people, why do people, and do they do it on purpose?
Maybe for attention.
Yeah, I think there's some to that, but I also believe that people get wrapped up in what they're doing and they lose track of time.
Yeah, I think it's like the ideal or nothing. Sometimes people get distracted, and so it's like, well, if I show up late, then at least I'm showing up. But if I don't show up at all, then
So it's interesting on the people that answered. It's like Kenny's like, yeah, they're probably doing it possibly for attention. But then the 2 women are like, well, maybe. I mean, maybe we're just doing it because things happen. I don't know. I just thought that was funny.
What's the question? Why was the question indicated in the first place?
That's true. Why was the question indicated in the first place?
Ken, were you late to the first part of this call? Why were you late?
Yeah, I tried something different. I decided I was going to be late on purpose. And
Why?
What?
Why were you late on purpose?
Well, I think I was late on purpose because I decided to be late on purpose. But what I chose to do instead is I had something on my list for full disclosure, I'm trying to do a round of darts every day. And so I thought I'm going to do a round of darts. And every day, every moment, like it was the most dart throwing I had to do to complete my thing. Like it was the worst possible round I ever had. And I think it was because I knew I was being late, and there was something inside of me that was bugging me every time I shot a dart because I'm like, I'm late. I'm late. I'm looking at my watch. It's like 8:04. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I just wonder if, yeah, so I did it to try it. And the dissonance inside of me was pretty intense.
I think it matters more to some people than it does to others.
It also depends on the scenario, what's going on. I mean, depends what you're being late to, but yeah, no, that's an interesting one for sure. I love like males over 50 or whatever. That's just like, that is a male over 50 thing for sure.
What, the darts are just trying to be late or what?
Pretty much both.
The ability to purposely try to be late over darts. I don't think that's ever happened to me before yet. So I look forward to that day.
So what's this call all about, Ben?
Well, I think we were just playing around. I loved it, the fact that Mark has his camera on, and him like he doesn't bite his lip, but he does this thing where he's like, dude, I want to say something so bad.
Why would you say that, Ben?
What were you saying?
He said, why would you say that?
Why would I say that? Say what? Say the fact that he was biting his lip?
No, let's say that he wants to say something so badly.
Because I mean, knowing the guy my whole life, you pick up on those little things, you know. It's like
Sometimes he doesn't want to say
bites
anything.
his tongue. Do you agree on that with Mark, or were you not trying to say something? Don't lie now. This is an honest podcast.
I don't think he actually wanted to say anything. I think he was just being amused.
I think I don't know. I can't. Something's wrong with his audio or something. But no, I could not tell. And I'm pretty sure he was trying to say something or thinking about saying something. But you know, honestly, it could be a virtue. Sometimes it doesn't have to be. How's it going, Elena and McKay? You guys are looking awesome today. See, classic Mark move. Nailed it.
Show
First
you her.
try.
She's been crying for the past 10 minutes because she wants to show you her jacket.
Hey, you got eye.
Wow. That's so cool.
She's been
Nailed
crying
it.
for 10 minutes?
Yes.
Yeah.
So sorry.
So with this being a recorded podcast, I think maybe, I don't know. I mean, I feel like I should just let Mark win this one, just so that this podcast is probably the coolest podcast out of all of them. One of the things that I feel like a lot of people struggle with, pretty much everyone struggles with, is they're scared to get older. And since we have a few people that are on the older side of this page in all different areas, not saying anything in particular, but I would just like some wisdom from things, you know, everyone was younger age, everyone was older age, anything that us younger people have to look forward to when we get older. Maybe procrastinating playing darts before they jump on a call. That's pretty cool. I never knew I could do that. So, and it's funny because my wife, she said to me, we were driving by some old people, and they looked like they were struggling just to walk. And she's like, I'm not looking forward to getting old. I looked at her and I was like, why is that? And she's just like, it doesn't seem fun. So I thought that for the first podcast I would show her is to show her this one where I'm talking, doing all the talking. anyone have any advice for someone who's younger and getting older and scared of getting older? Any advice for us to where we're like almost looking forward to it, maybe? How to
Yeah,
look forward to it?
The options to not getting older.
The option to not get older. Did you find the fountain of youth?
I
That-
think it's in how you think.
We cannot find it. Trust me, I know.
You can't find it?
Nope, it doesn't exist.
The fountain of
Explore
youth?
die trying to find that
What are-
thing.
What are the options to not getting older, Ben?
What are the options to not get older? I mean, it's real. You could do mindset, but you're gonna get old, and your body is going to
You can die if you don't
deteriorate.
get older.
Ben, you're only as old as you let yourself think you are.
Was that her?
That was Trevor, I think.
Yes, that was Trevor earlier. And then
Hey,
I
look,
went,
thank
Trevor,
you
way
for
to answer
connect-
the question.
Thank you for connecting the dots, Trevor, for Uncle Ben. Because Grant could not connect dots because he's not doing it this year. So thank you, Trevor, for being on. Does that help, Ben, or not so much?
So die instead of getting old?
or just choose not to get old. Dad's never gonna get old, so
Well, he has the angle like this, not like this.
I mean,
Come on, no one else laughed at that one. That was
bald at
gold.
like 30, so
I mean, Ginger, you're nailing it. You're at like that mid range, you know. I mean, I get that, but like I feel like you meet the old grumpy guy, you know. How do we deter ourselves from being those old Karen grumpy people and enjoy the fact that we're getting old? Like I see old people and I automatically feel pity almost, you know.
What's weird, Ben?
Did you ever think, Ben, that maybe it's a blessing to be
To
able
get
to
old. Yeah, I mean, living longer is awesome and all for at least most people. But
What
like,
about your spouse?
say again.
What about your spouse? Like, yes, if you don't live longer, you're not gonna, like, you're dead. So it's not like you're like, oh, I wish I would have lived longer. But your spouse, if your spouse gets older too, I mean, I know of several widowers that, became a widow at 30 years old. And they're like, the one thing that I wish is that my husband would have been able to grow old with me. And they don't get that. So it's like, if you have the mindset that growing old is a blessing, then maybe your spouse would have that too.
Right. That's kind of the question is how do I get the mindset?
Much to get older.
Plus, do you see
How do I
these
get the mindset?
little children? Do you
I
see
think
these?
that having children makes you go old faster. Just saying.
Oh,
I-
definitely. I mean, in the younger years,
No, but keeps you
Steve
young.
said that.
in the older years, when they bring home children of their own, then it's like, oh, this is why I raised them. Because then you can in a way pay them back, like get them all hyped up and then send them home. And realize that you not only created another human being, but then you created a whole family, and that whole family grew on to be a legacy to do another family, and then separate family.
Okay. Melissa, out of curiosity, did you have a coffee this morning?
I did, but I didn't keep
Just
it down.
curious.
So Ben, do you know what, the old people you're watching and you're pitting them?
Mhm.
Do you know what they're doing to you?
Saying, I wish I was that young and attractive.
No, they're not.
Oh. Maybe that's just you, buddy.
No, Ken's shaking his head no too. They're pitting you, Ben.
because we have to go through the rest of the life and they're almost out.
I won't say that I disagree totally with that. But I'm saying that if you're 25 years old and you're already thinking about getting older, man, I'm telling you, like if that's already on your mind, that was not, you have way too much time on your hands. So you probably ought to talk to one of your, cousins and, talk about maybe flat earth or something. You could talk about dying and then one of your cousins could talk about flat earth and you both could talk about things of significance.
Your choice of significance is talking about flat earth.
Or getting older when you're 25.
I mean, that's the thing is like, I feel like a lot of people, especially when the 25 to 30 range, is like, I feel like that's a pretty high significance of the thing that scares people the most is that area. Kenny, do you have any issues with that?
What's that?
That's Kenny.
I can't say I do. No, I've heard before that, whatever, like the personality or the traits of the person are amplified or accelerated when they get older. So if you're a nice guy, then you'll be a very nice grandpa. And if you're mean, then you'll be an old Karen.
Interesting, because Dad, when he was younger, he was just a bundle of joy. But now he's like actually like tolerable to be around,
Yeah, I just can't wait to see how you are when you grow up.
That's what I'm saying. I'm trying to figure out. I feel like I am a bundle of joy, just a funny guy.
Uh-huh.
But when I get older, I feel like when my back start hurting, sometimes it happens. I feel like I get grumpy. But maybe.
Do you find, Ben, I'm just curious, do you find that a lot of people your age are whiners?
I wouldn't disagree with that.
Why do you think you are?
I feel like it's maybe just the generation we grew up in, We didn't have to walk 10 miles to our bus, So I feel like it's just kind of how we grew up. And that's the problem is like a lot of people I grew up with, they're going to be that way. And if I could help other generations understand, I feel like, Amish, I did ask an Amish guy and like their perspective on life is just crazy. But like us English folks tend to be a little bit more complaintive and they tend to be whiners. So I was trying to.
Do you think you help your generation by sharing on how you're 25 years old and your back hurts? Do you think that helps like connect where they relate to you, you relate to them and you're all miserable together?
I think I wasn't necessarily trying to be miserable. I was actually looking for the key on how to not have those issues and how to not be complacent and complaining about being older.
Are you also struggling with your sexual identity?
Like, well, I'm married to a female.
Right,
So
but I've heard that it can happen at any time, at any given time of your life.
No, I personally have not. I can see some people online at least. I've never really met anyone that way, but I've
got it.
Can see some people online and you think I feel pity for old people. Imagine them, bro. I just like, really?
Why do you ask, Kenny?
Because if he's a woman and he has questions about that, then that'd be okay to, have concern about what he's feeling and all how tough his life is, and then we can listen to him. Then it's okay. But if not, then just maybe try to lose your bet with Mark. We don't care, Ben. So here's a thought that I have, Ben, is
I care, Ben.
Thank you. I was trying to support this call for the younger folks because the older folks tend to take over.
Take it over.
But it's cool that I'm showing my
Kenny is
face and I'm
23.
awake and I'm moving and I'm probably not laying in bed.
Kenny is 23.
Yeah. Oh, hi, Kenny.
He's the one that was talking.
Yeah. No, I got that.
And you thinking he's an older folks?
No, I was. You guys are just stubborn today. What I was saying in other calls, you guys talk a lot. And I was trying to have questions for all areas, not just the older people. I have nothing against older people. I love older people. I love their wisdom.
I thought
But
your
I was
question
trying to
was
include
to older
everyone.
people.
It was, but it's opinions.
If you want the older people to talk less, don't ask a question that's specifically targeting older people to talk. Just saying.
See, sometimes, Ben, when people are talking, I mean, I'm not saying this applies. I don't know where this came from. You know, I'm 60 now, so, right? I'm pretty old, right? Right.
One foot in the grave, buddy.
Right. Like, right. Okay. So I'm just saying that sometimes not here, because everybody who attends this podcast, they're really smart and really brilliant and everything. If you're not attending, then you're not. But if you are, then you're amazing. But sometimes when people use a lot of words and say nothing, other people will interrupt to try to get it to have something of significance. I don't remember. I know two young men specifically who committed suicide, and they both said they didn't think they were going to make it to 30. One made it to 30, the other one didn't. He was, I don't know, 28 or 29. So there's something, I think young men are dropping like flies in their 20s.
That's what I was trying to. If young men learn to look forward to getting older and had something to look forward to, I don't know about you, but if I have something to look forward to on the weekend, it helps me get through the weekend. It helps through the harder times. So the key was how do I look forward to, how do I enjoy the fact, hey, I'm going to be 60 and I'm going to,
Kenny gave you the answer.
What did Kenny say? Suck it up?
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, let's just how did that work with some of the 30-year-olds we knew? Probably not too well. So
well, if we're doing 30, the ones who had that mindset,
I get that, but the people who didn't make it past 30,
they didn't have the
tell them
mindset.
to
They had
suck
the
it up.
same mindset you do. And that is to enjoy the moment, have energy drinks, play gaming, drink, smoke, vape, live for the moment, live for the day, enjoy it. And when you're living for the moment, you're living in the moment, you're being true to yourself, you're doing all of this stuff. Then all of a sudden you realize it's all futile. There's nothing of significance. And so then you're like,
so what you're saying is suck it up. Don't live for the moment and just, look forward to the future. Like, yeah, that's going to work with someone. It's like, yeah, you know what? You're not looking forward to being older. You know what you should do? Suck it up. Stop drinking. Stop playing video games. Stop doing those kind of things that are viewed as negative. And then you won't kill yourself at 30. Is that really going to work? You think that's going to work?
for me.
I mean, yeah, it did for you. But I'm saying that weaker-minded people, which there are many weaker-minded people, I'm trying to figure out how can we help those weaker-minded people? Because in your guys' weight class, and where it's like, oh, you got your 6-year-old.
Answer to the question, or you just want to talk?
Go ahead.
How do you help weak people become strong?
You tell them they're weak and they should get stronger.
And then do the work that you need to do. When you're working out, like, well, I don't want to go to the gym. Okay, I don't want to work out. I just want to eat. Oh, I just want to do it. Okay, then you're never going to do it. You're always going to be in a perpetual state of frustration and thinking there's no meaning in life because you're not doing anything of meaning. It's not brain surgery. It's not rocket science. And no amount of therapy and no amount of medication is going to change the fact. If you're lazy, you're lazy. And that's what you're going to be.
I get that. Okay, I
Do
get that. But other people don't just view it like me personally. I just like, suck it up. Let's just go. I'm ready to rock it out. I don't care. Like, I don't care. Good days, bad days. I'm ready. I don't have a problem with that. Other people are not built that way.
Well, then
At least half the generation that are currently screwing our country.
Right.
I don't think.
Listen to
how
Kenny.
do we help him?
He's not looking at dying. He's 23.
Right. How do we help the other people? I get Kenny, but Kenny, you're telling them to turn off the emotion.
He said to you very clearly, Ben, do you have sexual identity issues? No. Okay, so you're a man. Yeah, suck it up, Buttercup, and be a man. Work hard, provide for your wife. Go ahead and do. It's not like you can't live in the moment at all. It's like you can't never drink. You can't do that. It's not taking it to the stupid extreme that stupid people do continually. And so this is what we talked about in the previous podcast about internalization, where people go ahead and say, I understand, Mark, what you're saying. If you're worried about getting old and you're 25 years old, you don't understand what I'm saying. If you understood what I was saying, you wouldn't be worried about getting old at 25. I'm 60 years old. I'm not worried about getting old at all.
Okay. So.
Does that help, Ben, or no?
I personally am okay with getting old. I view people that are struggling, that are older, that are hard to move. I use it as a pity. Yes. I love to help those people.
Does that help? Yes or no?
No, not for other people though. Like, I just don't understand. It's like, yeah, let me just tell a snowflake that may be questioning whether or not they're male or female. Let me just tell them, you know what? Suck it up. That's not helping anyone. I understand. Yeah, suck it up. I can move on. I can get older. I don't have a problem. I'm trying to understand the people that are in my age group that are differently built. I'm trying to understand them and try to help them instead of, because personally, I tell them to suck it up.
At all since you were 5. I'm sorry, since you were 7. Have you changed at all since you were 7 years old?
Yes.
See, I'm not seeing it.
Really? Interesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome, Dad. That's really cool. I'm glad you said that. As I was saying.
No. You get curious. Get curious and say, why do you say it, Dad? Don't try to teach me. You're the one that's looking at a 60-year-old or older people and they pity. They're looking back at you and pitying because you know what? They weren't like you when they have wisdom and insight that you can do it. So when you were 7, you went ahead and said, Dad, that's not the way you motivate me. You were arrogant back then. You're arrogant today. You think you know so much and you don't. You just don't. You did then and you don't now. Because at 7 years old, you're like, I'm going to be a professional speaker. I'm like, this is what you need to do, Ben. You're like, that's not how to motivate a 7-year-old. Telling his dad that he knows more about himself than he does. Maybe if you'd have listened when you were 7, you wouldn't be where you're at now today. But when you look at where you're at today and you say, you compare yourself to your peers, you're really successful. But are you happy?
Okay. So I understand that I should tell people that are struggling at my age to suck it up. And I understand you got to drive forward, guys. I understand that. That's what I should do. And that's what I should do for myself too. What I'm trying to explain is personally with the people that are my age and that I have talked to, I don't think that works for them. And I'm trying to figure out another approach.
Know how to listen. They like
So how do I
understand what
teach
you're
them
saying.
to
It's like you
listen?
don't understand what I'm saying. You do not understand what I'm saying. You don't. Get it through your thick skull. You do not understand what I'm saying. You're entitled, you're self-righteous, and you're a victim. You overcome it. Be thankful and grateful for what you have. Have humility and then have ownership. And don't have to have somebody like me, because most people, when they're sick, they're not gonna have this, they're not gonna have that. Now, this is just all pretend. This is just to go ahead and draw viewers, because if we have thousands and hundreds of thousands of people viewing us, then we can feel good and important. Like, the more people that view us, because I get all my energy and essence from everybody else, and I have nothing internal to show for it. I'm just a empty shell.
Yeah. So
Oops, we're beyond time.
What do you think is the other option if you don't want to tell them to
No,
suck it up?
And let's go ahead
be a
and take
man?
that in the next
we-
segment, because the next
Okay.
segment, we kind of unleash. This one was a little tame, but the next one, if you think like that one, we're going to really open up this bad boy into something real, not something fake, like something real. So here we go.